Welcome to Introductory Logic, the Science and Art of Reasoning Well. We're in Chapter 1, Lesson 3, Extension and Intension. Remember our lesson when we talked about genus and species hierarchies. We discovered that we could categorize a term into different kinds of terms that were within that, and furthermore, we could pick any one of those terms and categorize different terms that were within that. And here's an example. If we start with the term device, well, here are some types of devices: weapons, timepieces, vehicles. There could be many other types of devices we could imagine that are along this same sort of category level. Well, within timepiece, within this genus, we can imagine there are some species of timepiece: a sundial, a clock, an hourglass. Maybe there are some others. What about within clock? If we think of it as a genus, there could be analog clocks and there could be digital clocks, and maybe there are even different kinds of digital clocks. Well, when talking about extension and intension, we just want to look at the hierarchy down one branch of the tree, so to speak. So we just want to start with device and look at timepiece, clock, and digital clock. The term device is our more general term. It could describe a whole lot of things. Timepiece is getting a little bit more specific, and yet there are still many kinds of timepieces. Well, clock, that's even more narrow. And digital clock, now we're getting very specific. So we've started with device, which is a very general term, and we've gone down and narrowed it down to digital clock, which is quite specific term. So another way to describe this is that the most general term we're looking at is our more extended term. Like, imagine your arms are extended, they're open wide, and so it is a very broad term that could include a whole lot of things. Whereas our more specific term is more focused. It's like a laser beam. It's very intense. And so this is our most specific term. Now, the definition for these words: the extension of a term is the sum of all the individual objects that are described by it, whereas the intension of a term is the sum of all the common attributes denoted by the term. If we look at our list of genus and species, as we go higher in the chart, our extension increases. There is more extension for the term device than there is for the term digital clock. So as I'm getting more general, I am increasing my extension. As I'm getting more specific, I'm increasing my intension. Here's some examples. The extension of the term book is the set of all books. All novels, dictionaries, textbooks, manuals, and so forth. It would be all the things that are below the term book on the genus and species hierarchy. The extension of the term helmet would also be all things that are below it on the hierarchy. So all kinds of helmets: football helmets, bicycle helmets, Viking helmets, baseball helmets, and so forth. Anything that you can imagine in your mind that is below the term helmet is the extension of the term helmet. And what about the intension of the term book? Well, this would be the set of all of its attributes, all the things that are above the term book on the genus and species hierarchy. So having pages, words are written upon it, it's bound together, all of the attributes of the book, anything that would be above the term book in the hierarchy. The term helmet, what is the intention of that term? Worn on the head, made of protective material. So again, when we're trying to find the intention of a term, we're looking what is above it on the hierarchy. Let's look at an example. This is a list of terms that are in alphabetical order: animal, ape, gorilla, living being, mammal. Now let's put these in order of increasing intention. That is, we're going to start with the term that is the least extension. Increasing extension is the order we're going to put it in. So we're going to start with the term that has the least extension and end with the term that has the most extension. So remember, if something has more extension, then it is a broader, more general term. If it has less extension, then it's going to be specific. So we want to start with the term that is the most specific and end with the term that is the most general. So on this list of 5 terms, which one is the most specific? If you pick gorilla, then you're right. Now, which term would be the next most specific? Ape, mammal, animal, and then living being is the broadest term in the list. So let's look at our list. We start with something very specific, but our extension is increasing. We are getting broader. Apes, there are more kind of apes than there are gorillas. There are more kind of mammals than apes. There are more kind of animals than mammals. There are more kinds of living beings than animals. So as we increase our extension, our terms become more general. Now let's look at the other question. What if I want to increase my intention? Well, that means I want to start with the most broad term and I want to be more focused as I move along. I want to become more intense or narrow down to something much more specific. So this list is going to be the opposite of increasing extension. So we would start with the most broad term and end with the most specific term. So go ahead and pause the video and look at these lists for a minute and make sure you understand this. It's very important. To summarize, the extension of a term is the sum of all the individual objects to which a term applies. The intension of a term is the sum of the common attributes of the term. Extension and intension are inversely related. As extension increases, intension decreases. As extension decreases, intension increases.